Why is Hawaii a part of the United States and not its own independent country? Well, in 1778, when the British explorer James Cook discovered Hawaii, it was a bunch of independent kingdoms. This would change shortly after, though, when Kamehameha I would conquer his home island Hawaii, and then go on to conquer the rest of the islands and create the Kingdom of Hawaii in 1810. America first became interested in Hawaii in the 1820s so they could spread Christianity. Soon after, sugar started to become an important asset to the Hawaiian economy. After Hawaii experienced increased aggression from European powers in the 1840s, Hawaii tried to lean on the United States for protection. This would result in Hawaii becoming more dependent on the US. Also during this time, American plantation owners started pressuring the government to let them get a say in politics and own their own land. So in 1848, King Kamehameha III instituted the Great MAHELE, which allowed anyone to buy land. As a result, Americans and Europeans would start buying tons of land, with most of it ending up as sugar plantations. Despite making up such a small percentage of the population, Americans would actually end up with 4 times more land than native Hawaiians. Fast forward a couple of decades and the Hawaiian economy is doing really well. This is due to increased demand for sugar from the United States. Things got even better though when Hawaii and the US signed the Treaty of Reciprocity, in which Hawaii would have a free trade agreement with the US. This made Hawaii even more reliant on the US to keep their economy going. But also, the more Hawaii relied on sugar for their economy, the more power American plantation owners would get. But things started to take a turn for the worse in 1887. You see, a group of mainly Americans formed something called the Hawaiian League, and the members formed it with the intention of revolting and taking over the government. They did this with the reasoning that native Hawaiians weren't fit for government, so their power should be reduced. So on July 1st, 1887, the League demanded King Kalakaua to immediately change his cabinet members to members of the League. And so with the king under the threat of violence, he promptly agreed. And so on July 6th, the king willingly signed a new constitution which severely limited the amount of power that he and the natives had. But possibly something even worse than that happened in 1890. The US introduced the McKinley tariff with the goal of helping local farmers. But long story short, it actually ended up hurting them and normal Americans, but especially Hawaii. This new act devastated the Hawaiian economy, and it got Americans thinking, if Hawaii was annexed by the US, this tariff would disappear and we'll be able to make tons of money again. We'll get back to this in a second, but you should know this first. It's now 1891, and 5 companies known as the Big Five control almost everything in Hawaii. They have control over all the sugar plantations, along with most of the banking, trade, and local governments. The native government was being overpowered by these American companies, and if Hawaiians didn't act quick, they would lose all control over their country. That's where Queen LILI'UOKALANI comes in. When she came into power, she had the goal of restoring Hawaiian rule to the natives. This wouldn't end up happening though, as on January 17th, 1893, the Queen would be overthrown and then arrested in a coup. The Hawaiian League did this because they were pretty sure that the Queen wouldn't join the United States just to get rid of some tariff, and so the government was overthrown and replaced by the provisional government, while Queen LILI'UOKALANI was replaced by the new president, Sanford B. Dole. And just like that, Hawaii was now completely controlled by Americans. Dole would then seek annexation from the US, but this request was surprisingly denied by President Cleveland. But when President McKinley came into power, he chose to annex Hawaii. This was because it was now the Spanish-American War, and Hawaii's strategic position was too good not to pass up. And so Hawaii was annexed into the United States on July 7th, 1898, and ever since then would stay a part of the United States. Just like Hawaii, it's strange that Alaska is a part of the United States. And so to find out why, click here. Thanks for watching.